Welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant based in Seattle, Washington. And today I want to talk a little bit about animals and reincarnation. So welcome. Pull up a chair, sit down, relax, and enjoy us. And think about the questions you have about reincarnating. We're also going to do guided meditation with the Crystal Fallon, which we do every week. And I'll share a couple of crystals that will help you in your attempts to communicate with your beloved animals who might have reincarnated with you or are about to reincarnate. So again, welcome. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an Om Times expert and I'm host. Hi, Kristen. And I'm host of the Om Times radio show, podcast, if you will, the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. It's every Monday at 2 Pacific time. You can find it at omtimes.com radio. And this afternoon, we're going to talk in more depth about animals and reincarnation. But it's a really big subject, and we're going to cover it in upcoming radio shows and here on Facebook Live. And the question is, do our animals reincarnate with us? And what does that mean and how and why? And really the question there is, reincarnation is a fascinating subject, and I am just thrilled to see that more of us are talking about it. Hi, thanks for joining me, everyone. And really we can talk about it in more detail in terms of animals and reincarnation. Hi, Andrew, and everyone, thank you for joining us. We could talk about reincarnation more easily with our animals because, face it, they cycle around faster than we do. At least our dogs and cats do. And it's easier to obtain anecdotal evidence of reincarnation by working with animals. And as an animal communicator and a medium, that's one of the things I've run into a lot, both in my personal practice and in my family life. So let's get into the subject. I'm also going to invite two people to type in a quick question, intuitive question they'd like me to look at, or even better today, because we're really getting into the subject of animals and reincarnation. What questions do you have about it that we can talk about either today or in upcoming shows, including my radio show? So let's get started, as we do every week, with a quick guided meditation with the Crystal Fallon. Fallon is a citrine Lemurian quartz, and I know you can see reflections of my office and so on here in him. But if you take your attention to the crystal and how your intuition works most strongly, seeing, hearing, feeling, or knowing, you will be able to connect with Fallon's energy here in this time with us. And as you do that today, think about any animals you may have or other family members have had and the possibility of them reincarnating with you and how you feel about that and how you think they might feel about that. So as you, Allison, I hope to get to your question in a minute, but I can't write it down as I'm holding Fallon. So let's just take a moment to get grounded and balanced in this wonderful space that Om Times has created for us together. So if you take your attention to the top of your head, and let's just bring body, mind, and spirit together, clearing out all the cares of the day so that we can be here together. And as you breathe down from head to toe, just imagine everything clearing out and this space being open for us to learn and to grow together. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And as you do that, just concentrate on your animal families and the possibility of reincarnation. And now as you breathe up from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, just imagine that energy reversing, filling you up with healthy, positive energy. You can even imagine Fallon as a gold light flooding your heart with healing energy. So breathing up from your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, and the top of your head. Just let that energy come through. You may feel a lightheadedness there. That's your crown chakra. I'm going to do my best to look at questions. I'm so happy that all of you are here with me today. Tammy, I'm so sorry you lost your beloved. Heart failure, oh my God. Trust me, I have experienced that. It's devastating. And we should address that question, Tammy. And I will take that as a question to address here as I get to the 2 questions today for intuitive insight. Do we let our animals down when we euthanize them? And the answer is no. And I've been through it many times. And I'll tell you why and what we can do even after they've passed to make that easier on us and on them. But let's jump into the subject of animals and reincarnation. Now, I have personally experienced this in my family long before I even knew reincarnation was possible. And actually, the subject came up because I realized that on Memorial Day weekend, it will be a year since my cat reincarnated with me. And I didn't even know she was going to do that. She was adamant that she was not going to come back, but she's a cat, right? And cats will just do whatever they feel like. But it's a really great story. I have never told it before, and I will tell it this afternoon. But right now, I want to tell you a quick story about a client animal. And yes, okay, can we reincarnate as animals? So I want to tell you, I work on this little tablet, and I'm as tech savvy as I can be, which is not that great. So if I don't get to your questions in the live feed, I do go back in the afternoon or late afternoon, sometimes the next day, and go through the questions. So I will address everyone's questions as best as I can. And I will also pull some questions out to address either in my radio show or in upcoming Facebook Lives, because this is a really important subject. And it's important because I work also as a past life regression specialist. So I can see so many things that our souls are up to over lifetimes and our soul groups. And so animals are part of our soul groups. So let me tell you this quick story to get you thinking about what happens when our animals reincarnate with us. So years ago, I was with a family that I've known for years, and I was just getting into my intuitive work and animal communication, and they had a little dog, a Jack Russell Terrier. And I was just, looking at this little dog, and it started talking to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it turned out that the woman of the family, and this was a family of 4, a husband, a wife, and 2 sons, they decided they wanted an animal in the family, and the wife really wanted a cat. And she was very devoted and still remembered her childhood white fluffy cat that she had. And she wanted a cat, but she was outvoted. The husband and the 2 boys wanted a dog. So they went out and brought home a Jack Russell Terrier. Okay. And this was the dog that I was talking to, and we'll call her Reese. So I was talking with Reese and chatting with her and noticing that her behavior was, not quite what I experienced with Jack Russell Terriers. And I had one in my house off and on for a year or more because my first Cavalier King Charles Spaniel's best friend was the dog upstairs in her condo building, a Jack Russell Terrier. This Jack Russell was very laid back, very relaxed, and completely devoted to the woman of the family. So as it turned out, the Jack Russell Terrier Reese was actually the reincarnation of her cat, her white fluffy cat from childhood. And I said to her, and that was before I knew more about reincarnation. I said, well, why did you come back as a dog, especially a Jack Russell Terrier? And the dog was like, oh my God, you people, humans just don't get it. And her response was, look, I have been trying to get back to my soulmate, the mother of the family, and trying to come back as a cat. And they just didn't want a cat. They wanted a dog. So I just took the chance I had, and I came back as their dog. And I was stunned, right? They had decided they wanted a Jack Russell Terrier. They went for a Jack Russell Terrier. Then the one they picked out turned out to be their reincarnated cat, or the wife's reincarnated cat. So I think it just goes to show the world is more involved and more fascinating and more mysterious than we know. It's like, how did they pick that one dog out of that one litter? I have done it in my lifetime before when I didn't realize that it was happening. Somehow they find their way back to us. Somehow we find their way back to them. Part of it is soul groups, as we run around in soul groups during our lifetimes. The other part of it is souls do whatever they need to do. They choose whatever body they need to choose to do the work they've chosen for that lifetime. And here's the thing. I know this subject is important to a lot of you today, just as it is with me, because for a lot of us, animals are our families. They're multi-species families we're creating these days. The human-animal bond is very intense. We have moved up from basic survival to heart and soul growth. And so we're becoming more aware of the possibility that our soul members, our soul group members, are coming back and being with us, and they're not necessarily human. And in fact, in previous lifetimes, they weren't necessarily human. I have remembered many lifetimes with my animals where we shared off roles, where my cat was a human and the dogs and I were dogs or cats or whatever. And it happens. And so another thing I want to let you think about today is, depending on who you talk to, the intuitive you talk to, even another animal communicator or a medium like I am, a lot depends on our view of the world in actually what we see going on in the world. And my view of the world is that all souls are equal, that the bodies they choose are equal to us, that I am no more important than my animals, than my desk, my chair, my car, the trees, Kilauea in Hawaii getting ready to really have a major explosive eruption here. We're all equal. We're all souls that have chosen those particular bodies to continue to grow in self-love, to do the job that we've chosen to do. And sometimes the souls choose animal bodies. The problem is when they choose an animal body, an animal companion body, is that when they die, of course, we miss them horribly because their lives are just shorter than we are. And we tend to really want them to come back. And I'll say to you, as much as you want them to come back, not to ask them, but to ask them what they're going to do next. And give them that freedom of choice that you would give to any other soul member to tell you what their job is that they're thinking of next and what body they need to do it in. I know that can really hurt because my beloved soulmate, my first Cavalier, chose not to come back. And I still work with her. She's on the other side. She works with me at some of the planetary work that I do. But my other dog, who's actually the same soul, and my cat have come back. And it's really fascinating. And it's a real joy to experience life with them again. And it's a real joy to be able to wish them well on their journey, even if it's not to come back and be with us. Because the amazing thing that you have done as the human in the human-animal bond, as it's growing now, is to support them in their choice, just like you support your human kids. So I hope that helps. Let me just go through the quick questions here. Tammy, you lost your beloved to heart failure. I have as well lost one to heart failure. I have had to euthanize 2 out of my 3 last beloveds, and it was tough. Years ago, I euthanized a dog before the dog was ready, and I learned my lesson that time. And I learned to understand when they were ready. And I think what most people today, when they really are creating that even more intense bond that we are with our animals, we know when it's time. They they tell us when it's time, even if you're not a professional animal communicator. They do give you an idea that it's time. The quality of their life has just deteriorated so much, and they're just often ready to go. When I work with clients in talking with their animals, is it time now? Are you ready now? When will you be ready? Here's the situation that we're facing together. Tell me what you're thinking. I facilitate what I call a happiness talk. And that gives both sides an opportunity to share the fun things that they did, the sad things that they did, and what they're up to right now and how they're feeling. So, Tammy, don't feel bad, or any of you that have had to euthanize your beloveds. It's horrible, but sometimes it's really necessary to end the suffering. And I honestly have seen human beloveds die, and I wish that that was possible to help them. It's becoming more possible now. But in your heart, know that you love them and they loved you, and letting that body go when there's no hope of recovery is generous, it's loving, it's probably one of the most loving things you can do. And I know this will make you cry, Tammy, but understand that you did it with love, and that's what matters. So thank you for being so generous and loving to your beloved. And Claudia, you had a question, but I forgot to write it down. So let me see if I can find it. And I know how this feels to people. Okay, here's a question. Vanessa. No, Vanessa. And again, I'm going to remind you that I'm going to write down these questions and address them at future Facebook Lives and future radio shows, because I just feel it's really time to really dig into this subject. I've done it in my books that I've written. You can find my most recent ebook on how I found my dog Oliver when he popped into my head and announced himself. And well, that's quite a story. And there's a lot in there about other animals that have reincarnated. It's a little ebook. You'll find a link to it there. But Vanessa, it's never bad to become attached to our animals. It's never bad to love. There are a lot of people who don't understand the human-animal bond, who think that losing an animal shouldn't hurt as much as it does to lose a human. But it does. And it should, because there are soulmates just like humans can be. And again, I'm one who comes from the place where they're as equal to us as humans, and they deserve that equality of love and support that our humans deserve. So no, it's not wrong to become attached to them. It's not holding them back from their spiritual evolution. When they choose animal companion bodies, one of the things about being in that animal companion body is that it tends to put service to us uppermost in their minds. And that's why I tell people, do not ask them to reincarnate with you, because that may be interfering with their spiritual evolution. They may feel compelled to come back because honestly, I know this from talking to non-humans. Humans are just not as, I wouldn't say spiritually evolved, but mentally involved to understand all of the ramifications of what's going on in the universe that other beings do. So our animal companions kind of feel like they have to pull us up by the bootstraps, and ask them what they want to do next. And when they're there in your families, honor and celebrate them for being there with you. Ask them, what else are you here to do? Because my animals in particular have what a famous animal communicator called cosmic jobs. So they were here living safely in my house so that we could together heal past life issues that held us back, but also so that because they knew that they were supported and could go do that cosmic job that they were going to do, in addition to being a family member. Because here's the thing, we come together to be family members, right? But that's not the only job we do. I mean, I'm a family member, but I'm here sharing with you. I have a busy job as an intuitive and spiritual consultant and a past life regression specialist. I'm out there working all the time. That's my job. I work with the planet. Nobody pays me for that. Thank goodness, because the people who would pay you for that are not people any of us want to get to know. So we all have jobs outside of our family. So bring it back into your family. Wrap your arms around your beloveds, because honest to God, their life with us is so short. And yes, I get emotional because it's amazing. And they love us when we're tired, and they love us when we're, dirty. They love us regardless. And we love them that way too. And there's amazing spiritual growth that we can all have by celebrating our family members, whether they're human or animals. So we have a few more minutes here. Let me see if I can find, like I said, my tech skills aren't the greatest here. And then I just can't always see the questions. Yes, they've saved our lives. Oh, Claudia, that was a question. Can we as people reincarnate as animals? Yes. In fact, I have many times. And I joke about it. I say I still have the hips to prove that I was once a whale many lifetimes, big. But the truth is that, again, souls choose the body they need to do their job in for that lifetime. Some of those bodies may be animals. Some of those bodies may be humans. The humans that object to thinking of animals and trees and hurricanes and volcanoes as equals to us are going to object to the idea of reincarnating as an animal. That's why I urge you to move away from what traditional religions talk about in terms of reincarnation and go with what we're experiencing. Honestly, it's anecdotal evidence. Science is probably never going to be able to prove reincarnation to the satisfaction of everyone who needs science to prove things to them. But again, I also start a lot of my workshops by saying quantum physics is bunk, people, and I can prove it, which I can't. So here's the thing. Yes, it happens. Yes, we reincarnate as animals. And it's beautiful. My dog, my first Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, reincarnated with me. She was my English Cocker Spaniel. Years ago, I did not even know that was possible. I started recognizing souls. I can see the soul by looking in their eyes. So that's the story I can tell. I'm going to tell over and over again and coming up in future episodes. This is a really, really big subject. But I know that raising it today is going to make a lot of you weep. And that's perfect, because you're letting that grief out. You're letting yourself express that grief. You're expressing the love that you have for your animals and for yourself. And that is spiritual growth too, for you, for them. So rejoice in the fact that you are wise enough and loving enough and open to good humor and compassion that you can look at your animals as being family members and soul group members together, because that is really sparking your spiritual growth too. If you can look at an animal as an equal to you, how hard is it going to be for us to get along in the world? How hard is it going to be for us to build countries, neighborhoods, cities, where all life is valued and treasured? It is awesome. And our animals are helping us with that by just being who they are. So why are we, so you lost, Kelly, you lost your 3-year-old. He became paralyzed overnight. Oh my God. Yeah. If that was a cat, it was probably a heart blockage. I've heard of that. I know. I asked myself again, why did I agree to this again? Why did I bring animals into my life again, knowing their lives are going to be short, knowing how devastated I was? My perfect family, my 2 Cavaliers and my cat, died 2012, 2014, 2016. Why did I do it again? Well, because Oliver, the dog, announced himself. It's like, I'm coming back. Get out of the way. I'm coming back. And it was like, oh my God, the story of that is in my ebook, Finding Oliver. The cat was not coming back, adamant about it. And then she did, so it's like, what? So why do we do it? Because we love, because we cherish living with animals, because we're compassionate, because we're human, because it's awesome to have a family with animals. And only other people with animals can understand that. I have friends that didn't reach out at all when my loved ones died. But expect huge things because their humans died. That's just the way it is. You know, we're not going to be able to solve that issue. But we are going to be able to create a community together here, which we have done right here, and join together and celebrate our animals, celebrate our families through the lives they live with us and their deaths and whatever they do next. Because if you love them as much as I do, and I know you do because I've seen some of the comments here, and I know that they're coming and really making themselves apparent to us, we are growing our souls in huge ways, and keep at it because it's worth it. Now, I want to quickly jump, and I'm so happy that all of you are here today. I want to jump into crystals that will help you find your reincarnated beloveds, because the truth is, I think they're reincarnating more often than we find them. And that's fine. We miss them a lot. When I was worried about finding Oliver, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to find you? I'm making this whole process up as I go. And he's just like, relax. We've had harder times finding each other in previous lifetimes. They remember those things. We do not, which is maybe good because we're too analytical about it. But I asked my crystal expert, Kim Valines at Earth, Light, Rocks, and Gems, to come up with some crystal combinations that we could use to help us find our beloveds when they reincarnate. If they don't just suddenly pop into your life, as mine tend to do. And ironically, she talked about some of these crystals last week on the show. She is the radio sponsor for my radio show, but I've also bought crystals from her for years. If you go to earthlightgems.com, she can help you come up with this combination. But it's three crystals that you can use to help you bring back your connection to your reincarnated loved ones. There's another technique that's in my ebook called magnetizing. We'll talk about that in future episodes. But these three crystals, the first one is goldstone, and that is the purple and blue version of goldstone. Goldstone is a manufactured crystal, still is quite powerful, as Kim will tell you. So the first one is purple and goldstone because it helps contact the deceased. The second one is purple sapphire because it, involves reincarnation, rebirth, and transformation from earth to spirit and maybe back again. So purple and blue goldstone, purple sapphire. And the last is danbarite, a tool to balance the space and bring in that energy to connect. So purple and blue goldstone, purple sapphire, and danbarite. And those are the crystals that will help you as you're looking to connect with your beloveds. Now, there's a ton more that I want to talk to you about this. And we're just going to keep covering it in future Facebook Lives as well as other subjects. So send me your questions and let me know what that's all about. And here's a couple things. Join me on my radio show Mondays, Monday afternoon at 2, ohmtimes.com radio, 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern, the practical, intuitive, mind, body, spirit for the real world. I'm going to tell that true story about my cat this afternoon. It's very funny, but it's also really going to give you some ideas about what our animals are thinking about and doing in the afterlife, and what the universe is really doing, despite what New Age theory tells you. So there's that. If you like these Facebook Lives, please support the Om Times People, Humanity Healing page, the Om Times Institute page, the Om Times Magazine page by liking those pages and joining us on future episodes. And please like my page, The Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz. You can also purchase sessions with me, 15, 30, or 60-minute sessions. The 15 and 30 minutes are really brief sessions. For a mediumship session, at least 30, but a quick intuitive hits 15 minutes. Go to my website, Robin Fritz. I offer personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, past life regression, spiritual awakening, spiritual journeys, all to support you on your journey. So that would help all of us, and we're here to help you. And I said, again, I'm going to go back through and answer all of these questions give you some insights or carry them forward to future shows, and I'll let you know that here. So please send other questions that you have. And for today, let's close down by grounding us back into our bodies. So cross your hands over your heart. Breathe in this healthy, positive energy and just feel your heart flood with that. You know, you've been connected with Fallon during this hour, half hour. And as you breathe in, feel that energy going into the palms of your hands. And it's just there supporting you, helping you along in your journey. Now, as you breathe into the palms of your hands, just do that because you can feel your breath on your palms. And that just reminds you that energy is real. And put your palms back on your heart, which grounds you back into your body, closes down that crown chakra as connected to Fallon, and let you go about your day. So I want to thank you for joining me in this very special time. Animals are very dear to a lot of us. Losing them is very traumatic. Yes, they come back. Yes, no, and maybe is the answer to whether our animals reincarnate with us. A lot to talk about in future shows. Thank you for joining me today. We will talk again very soon. Take care.